o'clock. It is time for the meeting of Wildewood Springs Condominium Association's Board of Directors meeting. This time, can I have confirmation of the proper notice, please?
Yes, notice was posted according to statutory requirements on the 14th.
That's a good thing. Can we have roll call, please, Madam
Yes.
Secretary?
Roger Schultz.
Here.
Dick O'Dowd.
Here.
Leslie Jacobs. Here. Pam Flanagan's here. Dick Nicola.
Here.
Paul Salvis. No. Jim Munson.
What? Oh, yeah.
Stephen Abul. Claire Dewhurst.
Here.
Tammy Alburn. Here. Debbie Dial. John Humphrey. Sue Downs. Here. John West.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. Thank you very much. I see some faces that we haven't seen the past few months, but I'd like to welcome you folks back. I hope you find everything to your satisfaction. If not, see Pam. Well, I hope everything's to your satisfaction. Welcome back home. Good to have you back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I do believe on Friday you did receive in your packets the minutes of the last meeting. I hope you had a chance to peruse through them. And at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to accept. Motion made. Second by Roger. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Debbie. You have a comment?
Just the address right there.
Percent 65. Well, I just changed it.
Oh, yeah, right,
I don't know
okay.
if that makes a difference.
Thank you for the correction.
I didn't hear it.
Correction on the second address is 565,
Third page,
page number 3.
under owner's comment.
Instead of percentage, it should be 5.
Typo.
Fat fingers,
Okay, thank you.
or Tennessee medicine, or one or the other.
Yes.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, signify by raising their hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. John West, you want to give us the treasurer's report, please, sir?
We are in very good shape. At the present time, we have, well, I'm going to kind of go through it in some way, but we do have copies in the back, so you can take a look back to it. At the present time, our liquid assets are approximately $1.4 million plus, and we, in essence, are, I would say that's about all we need to look at that. But we do have our budget. We are low budget this year by about $24,000, and that is based on several savings that have taken place based on John. Our insurance savings, the insurance issue was less than what we budgeted. The information tech, we're under budget there based on new contracts, etc. Apparently for, I think, is that not our computer process? Good job. We're over in treat in the ground because of tree trimming, but that's kind of a holdover that's happened for the whole year, and I think it'll probably even itself out before the end of the year. And then last but not least, we're under budget in security thanks to John, or Jim down there, based on a new contract and a new security system, which we reported on last week or last month. At the present time, we had money that we got from our cable contract based on our signing bonuses, and that particular dollars have been put out to many, many different areas to take away from the cost of our reserves. A prime example would be we transferred $40,000 of that into the fund to begin the process of the upper unit slab renovation that we're having on the second floor units. And we'll probably have more discussion about that later. And we purchased a new security camera system, which in essence gave us this contract savings that we're getting right now. And we still have money left over, approximately $20,000. So that was a pretty good contract that we put in place. It helped us financially. It also helped us in regards to the cost of our cable. Any questions?
Do you have any questions on the treasurer's report? John, Harry, if you could hit us with the accounts receivable and save your voice.
Yeah, the accounts receivable right now, if you notice on the balance sheet, is $6,400, which is the lowest it's been maybe in 12 years. So the good news is that the collection process that we've been going through and the push has really worked. That's number one. Number two, as far as units with legal issues, we're really down to maybe one. We have an owner that filed for bankruptcy and is making payments. So that's kind of a quid pro quo. They're making their payments according to the agreement. We have two owners. We have on unit 702 that the owner is placing their unit up for sale, but they are not making payments currently. They've tried to make an agreement with the association that basically said that they could pay $300 or $400 a month until the unit's sold. But if we make an agreement that says until the unit is sold, then there's no pressure for them to sell the unit. So it's not agreeable to the association, so the attorney is pushing forward for that one. Two other units only owe a quarter rather, and they've been turned over to the attorney. So in all, we really have one unit, and then 702 that is an issue right now. Down from, as Sue remembers back when she was treasurer, way back when, 42 units that were in trouble. So things are in good shape.
Any questions on units with legal issues? Okay, let's get into the flood insurance updates.
Flood insurance, we reported the last time, all the necessary paperwork has been sent to the attorneys, and the attorney has filed for the amendment that we passed at the annual meeting to not require flood insurance in the future. It's registered with the circuit court. It's just a matter of them turning back the paperwork for me to forward to you. And what we'll do is send the amendment out in one of the annual meeting mailing notices to save mailing costs. But basically, the amendment is registered, and we're legal as far as, unless we get challenged.
Okay. Works for me. Jim? John?
John, maybe, since we've got new people here, you might add to that the reason why we're getting rid of this particular insurance?
John,
Yes.
Can you use the microphone?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, good idea.
Sure.
Sorry.
I apologize.
Hold on.
That's worse.
There we go.
Okay. Long story long. Back in 2011, the association had its documents and decided to change the documents, amend them, bring them up to speed, first time ever. In doing so, they had an attorney help them, and when the final documents got published, inadvertently, the attorney had left in some verbiage or boilerplate language about insurance that said the association shall purchase flood insurance. It was never in the documents before, but since 99% of the associations in this area are in a flood zone, it just happened to be in those documents. Nobody noticed it, and they got signed into law. We went along, but under the understanding that we didn't have it until a gentleman challenged it about 2 years ago, saying, "Where's your flood insurance? We don't need it." And then a review of the documents said that, yes, we do. What happens is that it's rather circuitous because it's an insurance issue. Anybody holding a mortgage has the right to review and not accept the fact to lose the benefit of flood insurance. So the owners have to vote to waive it. And not only the owners, if in fact the owners vote to waive it, the banks or the mortgage holders have to vote to waive it. Turns out that as we kid here, we're at Mount Manatee, we're 24.4 feet above sea level. Wildwood Springs happens to be on the highest level of all of Manatee County. So we are in what's called the X zone for flood mapping with FEMA. X zone is a zone let's put it this way, the whole state of Florida at some point is in a flood zone, but A, B, C, and so on are the ones, and X are the ones that are required to have flood insurance to the mortgage holders. The X zone, it does not. In other words, a bank, if you were to get a mortgage, the bank cannot require you to buy flood insurance in an X zone. But since it's in the documents, the banks had to agree to take it out per statute. We, as you remember, voted at the annual meeting overwhelmingly, and the owners voted to not to purchase flood insurance, or not to require the insurance be published. And then we had to get everybody's mortgage holders' names, and we had to write to them and ask for their agreement. Everyone we wrote to, incidentally, there's about 390 non-mortgages or completely owned units. We found that out as we did it. And the rest of the people, about 92% of them, we never did get 100%, but we got, I think, 547, which was really great, out of 558. Sent us the names of their mortgage holders, and we submitted letters. It was quite an involved issue, and all but one bank agreed to release us, and that was Bank of America, who happens to have 8 or 10 mortgages on Wildewood Springs. Anyway, we talked to the attorney, and the attorney said, since the vast majority of owners voted, and the vast majority of mortgage holders voted, he suggested that we want to go ahead and submit our amendment for addition to our documents and register it with the circuit court. And if there are no claims in 5 years, even though Bank of America didn't agree with it, they have no cause or allowed for action either. So now we've registered it, and if nothing happens in 5 years, we're 100% scot-free where we are. Should something of a flood nature happen, a mortgage holder such as Bank of America may come forward, but the bottom line is the association is responsible for anything in rising water should there be a flood inside for drywall and things like that. So you're basically self-insured as you are now. So it's working out very well to what we hope to have. Any questions?
And the cost that we are saving?
The cost we're saving, we had one quote of $275,000 a year for flood insurance, which would have been a radical increase in your maintenance fees. So we're self-insured, but you know, as people say, well, boy, you should have it. Well, no, because you should have it. And when I say you, I mean owners, because the association is only responsible for the structure of the buildings, which would mean the exterior, the support systems, and the interior drywall. Even if we bought the insurance, your interior goods, such as the flooring and personal articles and the utilities and cabinetry, will not be covered anyway, because that's something you would have to buy. So it was one of those things that, and it also had a $250,000 deductible on it. So, I mean, it was the craziest thing in the world. We've never been able to make a claim. So we're out.
Any other questions?
Oh, any questions? Thanks.
All right, John, did you have a leave of process there? Yeah.
I was not able to get with Lee today.
But you want to give us a...
Yeah.
status?
Okay, yes. Very good.
We were hoping to get figures by today, late today.
As many of you know, and some of you who haven't been here all summer, seems like we always need a big project to keep us going. We got through painting about 7 years ago, and then repairs, and then we did the roofs, and then we did the pipes. We've been doing roadways, and now we see there's an issue with what we call the upper slabs walkways into the second unit. In other words, as you walk into the second unit, there's a flooring. And that flooring is a slab that's supported by posts and by underpinnings. We have noticed some deterioration in some of the underpinnings, and we've taken them apart, and about 18 of them that have deteriorated where we had to replace what we call the support buckets and the wood. Thought we were doing a pretty good job there, and then all of a sudden we noticed that one of the newer ones, water flooded right into it almost a month later. And it turned out that water was migrating from the top through the cracks in the slabs into the area, into the cavity of the support system, and it was becoming deteriorated. So the building committee, ahead of Steve, started researching this. We brought in various contractors to make proposals to us as to which way to go, and we settled on a fact that what we have to do to maintain the integrity of the support system is to keep water from migrating around or in or through the concrete slab where cracks have developed over the years. They were built in 1978 and 1980. Things happen. So it was designed to put in it's almost a mat. It's a waterproof mat that covers the entire second floor slab, and it's I guess engineered in so nothing water can get behind it. We decided to do unit 592 because it looked like it being the worst, and we did it on a pilot basis because we weren't sure of the costs. It's done. It looks very nice. I was hoping to get the final price today. I don't have it, but should the system come within what budgetary constraints that we have, that's where they go, because it turned out very, very nice. I happen to have a picture on my phone, but I didn't have anything else yet. But I'll have it for the next meeting so everybody can understand what's going on. Any questions? Yes?
Does it look the same after you do that?
Well, I tell you, it looks a little bit like this flooring. And
Yep.
it's a very thick,
But I mean, when you look at the overall.
you'll never see it because it's on the floor. And as a matter of fact, I'll be happy to pass my phone around that has a picture on it.
Oh,
And
The other concern that I had, and John and I had the same concern, was after this material went down, what is the slip factor involved? Should it get wet? Well, it turns out that day we had a downpour, and Jim Sell went up and checked and tried to scoot around on the material in the ring, couldn't do it. So the safety level too, as far as slippage goes, is non-existent. Okay? Dick?
I think it's worthy to say that this material will be the material that's there. You will not be able to put anything above that material. So just so you know, once that's down, that's what we're looking at.
Exactly. Listen,
And John, do you want to tell everybody how many upper units there are, just so we can get...
yeah, I can pass this around. Please, if it slips, the next picture over is part of my oral surgery, and you don't want to see that.
yeah, we do.
No, you don't. No, it just jumped already, so I got in. We'll get
Chris,
it.
can you zoom in on that?
Yeah.
Put that on the website? I'm talking about the oral surgery.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyway,
149 units.
there's 149 upstairs, and like I said, we've done 18, but we didn't do 18 tops, we did the 18 bottoms. We were fortunate enough, we did the 190 or 592, we didn't have to do anything with the bottom. So all our cost is now is the preventative maintenance part. There's two parts to it. Over the years, many of these units have had water migrate down, moisture migrate down, and there's going to be repairs required underneath too. So we don't know that we open it up.
Yeah.
So every unit, every above unit will look like that?
Yeah.
So if we have tiling that we've invested, it's all gone?
Has to go. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, the unit we did 592 just put down a brand new polypebble flooring, and we had to take it out. But this is the flooring from now on.
Okay, so every second floor will be looking like that?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Does it go up the sides?
It goes up the sides and it's engineered in, and it wraps around stairs, you know.
One of the things we want you to be aware of, just like the stat pipe program that we had. You can turn that one off.
I'm sorry.
Just like the stack pipe program. As we went along, we found to realize that not every unit was the same with the stack pipe. There were some units that had 6, some had 4, and we had to adjust. So like with this project that we got going on now with the upper level, we're trying to prepare as much in the future as what the outcome is going to be as far as cost outlay. We figured ballpark 450 grand. That's a conservative for the entire project. And that's being very conservative, I would think. Would be done 450 grand.
Very conservative. Well, we'll know really good now. We know at the bottom, it costs about $1,800 to fix the bottom. Now we got to find out what it costs to lay this down. And our deal was with the contractor to try to control costs was invoicing and labor plus 30%. And so that's the best price we could get. So actually he's submitting the actual invoices for cost, and then we'll know what it is.
This material, when you walk on it, it doesn't scooch around, does it? So that you're not going to get wrinkles and stuff?
No, you're not going to get wrinkles. And should somebody drop a safe on it or, you know, make a mar or something like that, it is repairable. But it is very strong, very strong.
What kind of a warranty?
It has a 1-year warranty.
Do we have any further questions on the project? We'll have more answers as we go along, that's for sure.
Never slipped, huh?
All right. Security camera installation, I'm happy to please report that all the stations are up and running. Instead of our original 3 stations, we now have 5 stations. And just as this morning, all the stations have been tweaked as far as the watermark, which means the timestamp. There's a couple cameras that had different times. One was way out in 2021, like a Marty McFly type of thing, Back to the Future, right? That's been taken care of. 5 stations on Pinehurst coming onto the property, Oak Drive, Oakview Drive, Woodlawn, and Lakeview. And we just got done with
Lakeview or Lakeside?
that too. John, can't you control him?
I live with her.
And the 5th station is now the entire office area, which includes all the equipment that's in the garage, the gas tank supply, the maintenance shed, the maintenance storage sheds back there, the parking lot, the office area, internal office area, and the tennis court. So, and the generator. Yeah, yep, it's all covered. Everything in that perimeter is all covered, and looks great. So, and we're in a good position. At a cost of 20 grand. Originally, the company that we were going for wanted $18,000 a year for a 5-year contract, and we didn't own it. That we would have to give it up. The one that we got now is that we own all the equipment, 5 stations, with a 3-year warranty. If anybody's familiar with technology, somewhere down the line, the technology will change. We had that alleged promise by the other company, and they said, oh yeah, you're going to get the new technology, which never came to fruition. Until it came up for to renew the contract on the lease, and then all kinds of new equipment started coming up. But what we did, we were able to realize in the future almost $80,000 savings over the course of the term of the contract for the accounts. And we own it.
And the pictures are very vivid, even in the evening, or in color.
And it did work. We had a young man, thought he was gonna make himself comfortable over there by the office with a bicycle. And, not only do we have an opportunity to view the cameras, but our security patrol supervisor officers have the ability to view the cameras once they come on the property. There was some knucklehead that was running around by the office area over by the generator. I happened to see that, picked up the four security officers who had just left the property, had gotten down to their other post, which is Sarasota Jungle Gardens. And we're heading back to get him, so we called the sheriff and we got the guy. We were able to give a full description, zoom in on the description, was able to give him tattoos where he had on his arms. And, the cops, the sheriff's department came and took care of what they had to take care of. Okay? So, any questions on our security system? Oh, Peter, we can see your backyard.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were gonna say you see my tattoo.
No, we just see the area where, and by the way, Pete, when you go over to the pool, put some clothes on.
Yeah.
All the time? All the time. It's not clothing optional at the pool. Okay. Cluster resealing project.
Complete.
Done. Until the next call. All right, new business. We're going to get out to the, we're going to review the proposed 2020 budget. Mailing, where is it? Yes, Tom. I want to thank, I know it's a very arduous task to undertake doing the budget. But I want to thank Tom Pence, our chairman of the budget committee. Tom, could you briefly let the folks know? Then we'll turn it over to John.
No, that's okay. I think it gets, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
all
if the committee is
right.
here,
I used to
please.
teach, so I had to learn how to speak. But
If the
anyway,
committee is here, Tom.
yeah, I'd like to thank, first of all, Nancy Baker's not here, I don't think, is she? No. Bob Dell is probably not here either, right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Sue is on the committee, Leslie's on the committee, Roger is on the committee, Mark Shepard over there is on the committee, and Susan, I think you're over here too, and of course, John West. So basically, we've come up with a plan that there's no increase in the fees this year, although there's no promises beyond this year. That's how I'll tell you. Okay. Okay, so I covered my butt. So anyways, I don't know what there is discussed, but I guess at this point, give it to Jim.
Once again, I can't thank everybody enough. The key was no increase on the associated and maintenance fees. That was the key. Now, how do we get there? John Haggard. It's called creative fun.
Seriously, all that served on the committee should be thanked. All committee members of all committees should be thanked.
Absolutely.
This year, Tom ran a very tight ship and had dates set in certain for submissions to be made. It helped because Sue designed the system and Tom kept going with it. And the grounds committee chairman, the buildings chair, and so on participated and got their question on time. Did everybody get what they wanted? No, unfortunately, we work on what's called a zero-based budget premise. Here's the project, this is the cost. If it's in, we pay for it. If it's not in, it's not paid for and not going to be done. So after everything was put together, it turned out to be approximately an increase, because there has been increases, and the largest increase was in your cable bill, which is a guaranteed contract of 5%. So that raise was about $9,000. Water, sewer, and trash rates are going up again, so that was the raise. So everything else was more or less equal. A couple bucks here for this, a couple bucks less for there. More money for tree trimming this year because we really need it. A little less money for buying plants, primarily because we've done all the fronts, done all the sides and the rears. We still have about $14,000 to buy, but that'll be fill-in. So there's various ways to put together. But the bottom line is that if we added it all up and divided it out equally the way, or divided it in the manner that the documents prescribe, because as you know, different size units pay different size rates, the raise would have been approximately $9.50 a unit a month. Less to have operating surpluses in the tune of right now about $180,000. That's money that's either been saved through, for whatever reason over the years, without trying to get in depth on that. And the board feels very comfortable that we need a minimum of $100,000 as a fail-safe measure for emergencies. So to bring the pot up even where the maintenance fees will remain the same this year, the formula gave us roughly $64,091 to take from the surplus, add it to the income, and the maintenance fees will be the same. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to add, John, thank you, that was wonderful. You know, the one thing the budget committee talked about this year, and I guess I put it out to everybody and to the board, is that there are certain categories that every year they're going to increase. I mean, we're probably never going to decrease on our water and sewage and cable. I mean, those categories, sometimes your electricity, they're not going to increase. I mean, they're not going to decrease. So we're going to have that challenge ahead of us forever. So we kind of said at the budget committee, maybe we need to start looking at new technology or some type of innovations that will take this teeter totter and maybe decrease our expenses some other way, because we know these are going to go up, so we can get to some type of a level. I mean, it'll be a challenge every year. But one of the things we talked about, and I know it needs a lot more discussion, and John, feel free to jump in, was the lighting and using LED bulbs, because it would be a lot less. There's a lot that goes into it, and Tom has talked to John about it, and one of the guys on the board, I mean on the budget committee, is very knowledgeable. So, yeah, Bob Dell, he's very knowledgeable. So we've kind of put this idea out, and I just wanted to I don't want it to come to you as a surprise. We need to be looking at new technology, more innovations to kind of offset the expenses that we know are never going to decrease unless it's a miracle of some kind. So, I mean, I'm in favor of miracles, but I think we should start thinking about some of these things that will help us out as our future expenses are not going to decrease.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's one of the things we're going to look to for the future. One of the things I came up with, and an idea I came up with, being that we have 88 acres, a lot of sun, we have irrigation, there's a big need for it. Possibly we wouldn't have to have any more maintenance fees, is having a marijuana grow. For medical purposes on our property. And sell it to the dispensaries. And we wouldn't have to worry about budgets or anything like that. We should be worried about where we could hide the money. Innovative.
There was about $19,000, I think, left in this money from the television.
That's correct.
Is that part of that 64,000?
Well, I've been holding it back. No, it's not part of the 64,000.
Claire?
Was solar?
Yes, yes, we talked about it.
Something to look forward to.
And I think everybody should look at that. I mean, we even discussed that there are some places where you can get grants that will help you do it. So someone, Sue, weren't you gonna look into that about?
I emailed something to John, there's the 30% of the cost of the unit tax advantage that you can take off this year, and it goes all down every single year. Now, next year's 26, and then it drops drastically, and in about 3 years it's gone. So the sooner we can act at getting something, you know.
I'm just waiting, I'm just waiting on Bob Dell to come back into town. He'll be here at the end of this month, from what I understand. He'll be flying in right
Yeah,
now.
some of the simpler ones
Get him in there.
were something that would be aimed towards using for us for our street lights and stuff. So it's not going to affect your individual electric bill, but it will affect it in the HOA costs of doing business. Yes, the pool heaters, the electric spotlights and
So
stuff.
we welcome everybody's input and ideas. Remember,
It's gonna happen.
it's quite one of those things that, you know, you're brainstorming, no idea is bad. It's something you need to do, and it's up to all of us to do it.
Exactly right. Anybody else have any? Yes, we do.
I had a question on the reserve funding for the second floor walkway.
Go ahead.
It looks like somebody estimated like 241,000. And so I thought you said before you didn't know how much it was gonna cost. So how, do we have enough funding?
Well, no, what we did on that, Barbara, was we took what we knew for the underneath, and we put a proposed for the above. And so that's our first year. With a reserve, it's calculated every year, and next year we'll have a better idea, and we'll use the actual funds versus guesstimate funds.
So the 241 is an estimate.
Is an estimate, where it could be as high as 480,000, or it could be less.
Okay? Yes,
Are we still under new business?
of course we are.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Anything new about the bocce courts?
Well, let me get, first of all, we're still on the budget.
Oh, sorry.
We're still on the budget.
Wait, there's someone,
Yes, ma'am, now I see you. Behind the wall.
What about the low-flow toilets and the low-flow shower heads?
That's up to you.
It's not only up to us, the homeowners save by putting them in, but it would cut back on the water usage.
But there's nothing that we can do to put handcuff somebody and say, you must do that. No.
Well, this-
But it's a
It's
good thing.
it's a good thing to
recommend.
do. It's a good thing to do. It's an awful nice thing to do. But like I said, we cannot force someone to put it in.
Does Manatee County still have that $100 rebate for
Yes.
toilets?
Yes.
I've done it already, so I mean, you know, so that's something else you consider. You have,
All you
like,
need is a toilet lid.
yeah, and the toilet, yeah, they save the toilet lid, and they will come by and inspect it and send you a rebate check for $100 for each toilet.
Yep.
You know,
We're still on the budget. We're still on the budget. Let's stay focused. Let's stay on point. Go ahead.
according to budget, you know, the difference, even if it didn't affect us, but your own individual condominium, Tom, you called about what the difference was if you ran an LED light and another light. Remember, you came over and told me what the difference was?
Yes.
Do you remember what that was?
Yes.
Could you share it with everybody?
You can run a 60-watt bulb.
Yeah, compared to,
Run a 60-watt bulb, 12 hours a day for a year, like your front porch light. If you put it on every night for a year, it costs $20.80.
80
The same LED bulb, every night for a year would cost you $3.60.
Okay. But that's still not on the proposed budget. That's, I want to stay on point. That's something that we can look forward to in the future. Let's get with this budget in the reserve, get it done, fixed, and sent to the owners. What do you say? Everybody agree?
Yeah.
John, this is about the budget?
Exactly.
Okay.
What is the timeline? Now, do we vote on this proposed budget to be sent
To the owners.
today?
Yes.
Excellent.
Anything else, John? Sue, yeah, what's your name? Pam.
May I move that we accept the budget as written and to present to the owners?
Seconded.
Second. Discussion on the motion. Further discussion on the motion. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now, just a note for the owners that are
second?
here now.
Who's second?
Steve,
Steve,
you take a copy, I'm sure, do we have copies laid out,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Please take them with you. Don't let anybody else see them. Don't leave them here, please, because this is our money, this is our business. It's nobody else's business, it's not anybody else that might come in after us. So if you have them, please take them home. You still will get another one in the mail.
You can share with other homes.
Yeah, the owners, yeah, don't let,
You will be getting the, because the state requires us to mail everybody one.
but please, just take it with you. Don't let Wildwood 2 know. Keep it a secret, how we do it. Okay. Now, next item. I know John's been working hard on this. just leave it there, John. We need a golf cart, we need another golf cart, or replace the golf cart.
Okay, golf cart currently being used to service the swimming pools was purchased in 1992, and it was used then. It must be replaced, it's barely getting around. The plan is to give the cart I currently use, which is a much newer one, to the pools and get a new old cart for administration use to take people around and things of that nature. I visited 4 places for proposals. I've got 3 proposals, and basically I'm going to ask you today to more or less set a budget because there's still some negotiation and things to go along. But basically you get an idea, all carts should have 4 seats. New carts run between $8,000 and $9,000. Therefore, the quotes I've received are for carts that are rebuilt, totally rebuilt, but have cart bodies of 2015 or 16. And the prices range from roughly $48.69 to $45.95. I'm requesting that you give us a budget.
Let me ask you this, would you be comfortable with a budget of $5,500 at this particular?
Absolutely, if you get anything, because I want to make sure that it has the newer batteries, the better tires, the glass.
Leslie?
So moved.
Motion made by Leslie, seconded by Dick. Discussion on the motion, further discussion on the motion. All in favor, signify by raising their hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. $5,500, no more than that.
Thank you.
And Debbie definitely wants the one with the
Debbie, we're going to get you a nice, pretty green
spinners
one.
on it.
Probably going to be green.
Yeah. Green this way.
Wide wheels.
Okay, communications. What do you got?
All right, got a couple of letters in your packet, basically for explanation. As you recall, we drained pool 2 and pool 5 to the tune of about 60,000 gallons of water, and did the necessary maintenance. Everybody's very happy. The pools look like they're brand new with the acid wash. But what we did was then take the letter from the contractor and send it to the water and sewer department, because the water that we dumped from the pools did not go through the sewer system. As you know, for every gallon of water used, the sewer system is about 2.5 price. The sewer cost is about 2.5 times that. Since we can prove that 90,000 gallons or 60,000 gallons didn't go through the system, we will get a credit for $60,000 worth of, or 60,000 gallons of water used. So I just want to let you know that that was done and asked. Okay. Secondarily, we've had an issue, and this may be ongoing. It's probably going to come back to the building committee, Steve. Unit 165 has an issue with noises emanating from above. It looks like squeaky floorboards are causing issues for sound as people move across the floors upstairs, making very loud squeaking noise downstairs. We had this in one other place, one other unit up in Pinehurst, where we were able to get in, and it wasn't wood flooring, it was some sort of I don't know, almost like the stuff that they use for cabinetry, which is softer material. And we were able to go in there and we were able to screw it down to the concrete and stop the noise migration. We were up there today. We had an incident where it didn't seem like the gentleman up there was going to be helpful, and I had to kind of write him a tough letter, but he turned out to be very open and above and helping us. And we tried to do the work today, and everything we put in to tighten things, nothing happened. The noise is not stopping. It may be it may be as serious as going into the entire unit and taking all the floorboards out and replacing them, which could be quite a big deal. But we have to look at it, Steve, on a building committee, because the noise is quite prevalent going downstairs. So that's an issue coming before us. But the letters that you saw, the gentleman became very helpful, and so it worked out pretty well, other than the fact we can't fix it yet. Yet.
That's the key word, yeah.
Okay?
Okay, any other communications? I don't see any other than
No.
the manager's report. Anything else you wanted to add, John?
Yeah, something kind of unique that we found. There's a new camera out, and you have a picture of it in your packet that we purchased. And actually, the camera, as you take pictures, feeds back if there's moisture in the system, in the wood or wherever you're working. And so we've been using probes as far as seeing if there's moisture in the wood or if there's leaks. And they're good to a point. But this camera has turned out to be a real boon. Maybe you can turn it around and see. You take a picture of the wood and it feeds back a radiant beam, and it shows whether there's moisture in there, and we can tell if there's leakage and damage. And we've cost $499, but we've used it about 6 times already and found moisture where we would not have found it before. And of course, moisture draws termites, and you know what can happen there. I don't know if anybody realizes it, but those of you who know Larry Puma, Larry bought Marie Hausman's unit, 221, and renovated it. It's a 28, and renovated it, or 2300 rather, renovated it extensively, and the last things he decided to do was to hang draperies and things like that, and every time he put something in, the nail or the screw would go right in the wall. So, so we opened up the drywall and found extensive termite damage. No live termite, but former termite damage to the tune of, it cost us $5,200 to repair the support system in that house. It was all eaten up by termites. So it's really important to eliminate moisture when we can, because that's the draw of termites.
And termites.
Yeah.
This camera takes the guesswork out of where the
Yep.
leak might be, instead of going with that little wand. Well, I'm under the manager's report. I was remiss earlier in the president's comments, and while we have the manager's utmost attention, I want to let the owners know that sometime in May, the board granted me autonomy to go ahead and renegotiate, trying to locate a new manager. Wildewood Community Association, and I took that undertaking, full speed ahead, hard charging with my Army mentality. And I'm here to tell you that after a psychological consult that I was very, very adamant on getting.
Was that your psychological?
I'm glad you caught that. Well, I'm really pleased to report to all the owners, and hopefully we'll get some owners involved later on, that John has agreed to extend his contract for another 3 years. So that was 587 votes to 1.
Yeah. Thank you, sincerely, thank you.
Okay, committee reports. I'm going to start with Peter. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Thank you. After 2+ years, now we completed the shrub replacement, front, back, side, the 35, 38-year-old shrubs we're replacing. And we had good luck because it's been raining, we got the irrigation done, and we haven't lost any. And next month we'll do the mulch. And just as John referred to it, right now it's a matter of, with the budget coming, and we're doing the mulch, we're just playing it close to the wire, because we've been robbing Peter to pay Paul, do this, do that, do this. So until we get the new budget, if, you know, besides doing the mulch and just replacing any shrubs that die on us, that's gonna be the extent of it, and no trees or anything right now. I mean, I'd love to, I wish I had carte blanche and I could do what I want, I mean, and spend a fortune, but we gotta do what we gotta do.
2 things, Peter. Number 1, the mulch price, we were able to get it at the same price as last year.
Yeah, which is great.
So that's
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah,
And it will be coming the 4th, November 4th.
yeah. And this year, we're gonna have the mulch drop at each village where it belongs. Makes it easier for the guys.
Now, is that it, Pete? That's it?
Yeah.
Steve, go.
Yeah, we're in the midst of looking at the front gate issues, trying to find something that's all uniform, same style, that's not attached, that will, once we decide on that, we'll send it to the board.
And now you just got to handle this issue with the noise mitigation.
Yeah. Done now,
All right. Tom, you got anything you
No,
want to
I
add?
gave my report already, so that's all set.
You have the committee chair?
No, I'm not a chair, but I'm here.
Go ahead.
We are the social committee, and we are trying to determine how we can buy a sound system that coordinates with what we need here, because this is awful.
Okay.
And we had a practice run. Barbara brought her Bose, which is an older version, right, Barb? And it was amazing. I don't know, do they make those that have microphone capability?
It's not only the microphones. Chris, is it, it's also the receptor, the receiver, that piece that goes up with the antennas on it, isn't it?
I'm not, no, I don't know.
We don't know enough about it, and if somebody would like to help us investigate, because we do need one here, it's obvious. And we would like one for this, to use during social events.
Rogers looked into a little
We
bit.
started that
Okay.
from the IT committee. Now that I'm back, we're getting back into
Okay.
that to see what we can do and what's a reasonable price
Okay.
to upgrade this system. But yes, Jim is right. It would include the microphones. It has to include that, what you pointed to, with like the rabbit ears on it, so we can do wireless microphones. There's an amplifier that goes with it, so we're trying to find an all-inclusive package that's not gonna cost us a fortune, that's portable enough for us to handle.
Okay.
So now that I'm back, I'm gonna get back into looking at that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, I already gave you the security update. I'm going to give you a little bit about the polls, like John said. I'm currently actively looking for someone to take over the chair of the poll committee. I appointed myself there pro temp, and the fact that we lost Marty Kaufman on August 15th. She had passed, so I'm actively looking for someone that would be willing to chair the poll committee. But poll 2 and 5 has been completely done. John briefly put on to it about the water drainage. It's gorgeous. We saved some money there because Jack was able to do the spas. And our pool company came in and did the surface of the main pools themselves. So it's going to be another ongoing project that's going to have to be done, is doing those pools. So again, if anybody feels they'd like to serve as the chair of the pool committee, let me know. I'd be more than welcome to interview you if you guys do that. Okay.
She'll take it.
Okay? You will?
She's what
Thank you very much. Now remember, you gotta keep Pete from going into the pool, you know, clothing option.
Jim, that was Nicholas Abbott.
No. Tam, Dick's got something else going. Dick, what do you got on the 43rd Street?
You all have noticed, of course.
Give him a microphone, please, so I can turn it over.
Yeah, you gonna turn yours off, Jim?
Yeah, mine's off.
You all have noticed,
No.
whoops,
Push it up, up.
Yeah, it went up all the way.
Oh, it's dead.
There it is.
There you go.
hey, we did. We did, thank you. You've all, of course, noticed what's happening at the corner of 43rd and Cortez. That's just the beginning.
this has been going on for a long time, their anticipated work that they want to get done there. I've talked to them about it several times and get no answers. They tell me that they're going to expand in 43rd Street all from Cortez down to 53rd Avenue and make it 4-lane. It's going to have bike paths, sidewalks, et cetera, et cetera. But even if, I printed this out today, and even as of a recent phone call with Jeff Streitmetter, the Manatee County Department of Public Works, who I called a couple of days ago, there's nothing scheduled at this time other than the current right turn lane at the corner of 43rd Street and Cortez. That's all I can tell you. They're going to do it. And it's probably at least a year, probably 2 or 3 years away.
Maybe not in our life.
But I can't, maybe not. But the point is that I have nothing to report to you, really. They just say, oh yeah, we're going to do it, but we have nothing planned yet.
All right.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, director's comments. Let the residents go. Anything else? No. Thank you again. Debbie, got anything? Nope. I'm good. Sue? Dick? Brad?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would like to know, you're gonna get sick of hearing this, John, when is our cluster going to be re-engineered or whatever? Every time it rains and I have to walk from the carport, I'm walking through ankle-deep water, and I'm getting tired.
The cut has been made, and the pipe will be placed this week.
So that's going to eliminate?
That's going to totally eliminate it, yes.
So,
You see that where it's been cut across the, they come out and cut the driveway with a single pipe, and it's going to be done this week. You'll have no more problem.
in front of the carports?
Yeah, it's all going to be,
Okay.
there's an active pump, takes it away, but it's getting the water to the pump.
Right, and the hose keeps disconnecting.
Well, wait, no, the hose is just temporary.
That's just temporary.
That's just temporary.
Oh.
Where you see the blue hose, there's going to be a permanent pipe underground that takes care of it.
Okay, and then the guys have to keep the drain clear.
Yes,
because-
they understand that.
Okay.
Yes, but yes, we're working on it, and I appreciate it. Thank you for your indulgence.
All right, Steve? Leslie?
Yes, don't forget the Fall Fest, the International Fall Fest, November 17th. Bring lots of money, see 50/50 raffle.
John, what you got?
I do have something personal in regards to the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday. St. Joseph Food Pantry, which is right over here on 26th Street, is gathering donations for that, both in the actual items, which we have a Thanksgiving bag content, or asking for money. Right on the back table back there is this particular sheet of paper, which gives you all the details. It's really a great program that they're running for the homeless and for also those that need food, families, etc. So I appreciate any kind of donation you could give, and the back table has this particular sheet of paper.
I can say in the past, we've accepted donations for them at the office. If you don't want to go over to St. Joe's or wherever, and so just bring it in the office and we'll make sure it gets to the right place. Okay.
That's it? Okay. Owners' comments. Chris?
I believe you missed the IT committee.
I am so
Some of the statistics indicate that the visitors to our website are primarily non-owners or non-residents. So we have a lot of people visiting our website who are looking for something. We're not quite sure what. We'll probably try to do a little survey, but there is a menu item, if you take a look at the website, called About. And About is open to the public. It has our documents on it. It has our maps. It has floor plans. It has a tour, a photo tour, and it has the birds, the album. So we're looking at some additional things to put on there. And one of the things that we talked about is a history of Wildewood Springs. And so we're kind of looking for any information that you might have that pertains to the early brochures, the early material that might have been connected to that.
A few years ago, I gave, I believe it was Catherine, an album from a former owner who has now passed, and it had a lot of that. It was a well put together album.
I've seen most of those. I've seen that one, okay. And I've seen most of the others. But what I'm missing is there was a nice little brochure that had both of the Neils, Paul and Pat, and another man who was sort of their sales manager, and an article about or a little blurb about the architect, Mr. Siebert. But it got cut off. I don't have the whole document. So if anybody has any of those kinds of documents, why, if you could drop them off at the office, we'd be happy to put them on the website. The other thing that if you have some good photographs that of anywhere on the property that we might be able to use in changing the photos on our tour, our photo tour, it's time for us to change them, to make some changes there. So if you have some good photos, I know one of them in the office meeting room of that red-tailed hawk, a red-shouldered hawk. I don't know if that's going to be a sales point or not, but those are the sort of things we're looking for.
Well, how about the International Festival?
Yes, yes.
Hey, Chris, with Neil and Neil, have you contacted them? Could they give you
Catherine said she has talked to the Neil people and they don't have anything. They don't have any archives, I guess.
Would the county have anything?
How about newspaper archives?
Our archives? The newspaper? There was the article in the Herald Tribune back in 2013, which was sort of both Wildewood and Wildewood 2. A very nice article. I requested that we be able to use that and the photos from it one time. They wouldn't do it.
They won't let you look at their archives either to see the rest?
I could see it, but they would not release the information.
Again, my apologies.
No problem.
Any other committees? No. Committees? Okay, owners' comments? Yes, sir.
Question, make sure I phrase this properly, not to offend anybody, but one, I was relieved to find out this morning, there was rumors that the G7 conference was going to be held here, that's false. It's not going to be here.
I would too.
The second thing is I left last spring soon after the security change was made. And I need to be educated on this. It seemed like, and I'm not saying that the right thing wasn't done or anything like that, that people weren't looking out for best interest, but is that a decision that the president is empowered of the board to make, or does the whole board need to know what's going on and vote on it? And it seemed like, not ripping on you, Jim, but that you and John or whoever made a decision and other board members weren't aware of it until the deed was done. Is that, how does it work?
We voted on it.
Well, they voted on it, but they hadn't seen the contract when they voted on it.
During the board workshop, we did have quite a bit of information presented to us, up to including environmental rights.
That's why we have the workshops.
So at the workshop, the decision was made not at a board meeting?
No,
like this?
At the workshop, all the facts and figures are laid out to save time for the board meeting, so it's not rehashed again. That's what
Okay,
the workshop
so my confusion, and I apologize, is
No, it's okay.
that
It's
it's
a
a
great
board meeting
question.
like this, and it seemed like certain board members hadn't seen the contract, the new one, and it was already done, so I just needed to learn how the process works.
Mark, sometime all board members don't make the workshop, and that's how that happens.
Okay,
sometimes.
I just wanted to.
The whole concept, so everybody knows.
Again, the idea of looking out for us was good, I just wanted to understand the process, so.
So everybody knows, when we have a workshop, and I'll announce when the next workshop is that we as a board, we get a lot of information over the course of, between now and next month. So there's a lot of information put out that we need to make a decision on at a board meeting. So in order for time constraints, we hash it out, we rehash it, we figure out what the best course of action is gonna be. When we come to a board meeting, that's when the votes are taken. We cannot take a vote at a workshop.
Okay.
It's not, only at a board meeting can we take a vote.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Bob?
Is the ad hoc committee for the gates open to owners to attend?
There's no ad hoc committee for that, that's the building committee. That's not an ad hoc committee, it's building committee, and then every committee meeting is open to all owners.
Oh, okay, so it is,
Got it.
I believe it was a separate committee, or just that, okay.
That'll be on the agenda of the building committee.
It's always on.
It's me again.
I can't be standing behind the wall.
John, I'd like to take a minute to thank you for all the help that you've given us since we've been down here.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that nothing else can go wrong.
Oh, you wrong. Well, wait, there's more. Murphy comes into play.
No,
Murphy always comes into play.
don't even say that. It hasn't been fun some of the days.
Thank you, I'm glad things worked out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bocce ball?
Okay, bocce ball. Bocce ball committee, the last information this board got in May, I believe it was. There was two different variations. There were, I'm gonna call it the stadium, $9,600 at one point was the bid. And then after that, we got another bid, less than $500. That was in May. And when we looked at it at the workshop, the differences between, there was just such a large spread between $9,600 and $500. At the time that the budget committee met, all committee persons, ad hoc or standing committee, had an opportunity to come to the budget committee to present their requests. And that was publicized, it was put out, I believe, a couple of them called in, Peter, you called in for their request. Not one word was said. So, and since then, since May, this is now October, we haven't heard one word about budget.
Is there someone in charge of that?
Who was, what was his name?
Andy Perella?
Who?
Perella, yeah.
Andy Perella.
Perella.
Yeah,
Andy Perella, yeah.
Perella.
He called yesterday, or Friday.
Right?
Mark,
That's where it
I-
is.
Just to answer Mark's question, I have the information that we received at the meeting prior to our vote on security, if he wants to look at it.
Thank you.
Okay? That's where the budget ball lays. No pun intended. Any other comments from you? Yes?
I have a question.
Sure.
What is a cluster advisor, and what are they supposed to be doing? Do you still have them?
Yes.
I don't hear anything.
To answer your question, yes, they are. They still are active. The chairperson is Elaine Johnson over in Cluster H. During the summer months, there's usually not much going on around the property. But the cluster advisors, they let the owners know in the cluster that they're not paying attention to the bulletin board, different announcements that are made. What they used to do is deliver the newsletter, and we don't do the newsletter.
So they're just in charge of putting the information on the bulletin board?
Well, no, that's posted by management. That's all posted by management. What they kind of like to do is make people feel welcome newcomers, kind of like a welcome wagon, answer
I've
questions.
been here 4 years, I haven't been advised about anything.
You haven't been invited to anything?
Advised about anything. I don't care. I come to the meeting, so I just.
Well, yeah, they were.
We can find out who your cluster advisor
I
is.
know, and she's a lovely person, but I just, you hear people say, ask your cluster advisor, your cluster advisor will let you know, or something. That's why I
At
come
this
to the
point, they're more or
meeting.
less involved in another source of information to get out to the owners, the board, and the bulletin boards, and the website.
Oh, I always read the bulletin board, I go online, I come to the meeting. But I just came up in conversation one day, just thought I'd ask.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, sir. Right back behind the wall.
I'd like people to be aware of that the cable company bill, contract, is 1 year this month, I believe. And that's usually when the cable companies try to charge you for something after the year contract, whether you have a 2 or 3 year contract. So they tried to charge me for an extra cable box because I looked at what we had and it didn't say anything about it was only, the second box was only good for 1 year. So it actually says we are allowed the 2 cable boxes without charge. So just be aware that they may try to charge you like they tried to charge me, but they took it off. I called them and they took it off, and there was no problem with it. They do those things.
Any other?
Back right, back left.
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
Early Blackers, 140 Pinehurst. Just want to thank Catherine and John for helping us with a little pest problem. Additionally, John and Ed for helping us with some sprinklers. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Are you speaking as an owner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of pests, please, and I'm directing this right to the video cam, please, do not feed the rodents or the animals. Please, no peanuts, no pistachio nuts, no hamburgers, no buns, sorry, no hot dogs.
I find chicken bones.
Yeah, please do not. And the reason why, one reason, those little rodents run across the roofs, they're damaging our roofs. That means cost to you guys because that's not going to be insured, right? Secondly, they are being very, very destructive. They're not afraid of us anymore, and someone is going to get harmed. Some of these rodents carry nasty diseases, and they will harm you. And so, for your own protection, please do not feed them. Or if you know of someone who is, please take the pistachio nuts away from them.
You're talking about squirrels?
Any type of.
Any of those out there, the raccoons, they are not afraid of our pools. They come right in the pool and look at you like you are invading their territory. There was a squirrel right standing looking at me, but aren't you gonna feed me? Because your neighbor does. It's really horrid.
And that's not only for the wildlife, we do have some feral cats on the property too. So don't feed them either. Let the raccoons feed on the cats.
Get your gun out.
Cats, or the hawk. Let them feed on the raccoons. Yes, sir.
We have had problems in the past with rats, so I know the squirrels are cute, but anything that's left over, you're just encouraging rats. They go into dryer vents, they've gotten into people's like where air conditioning holes are, they've gotten into people's ceilings.
You are
So,
exactly right.
you know, they're not all scary.
Okay, the next meeting, the workshop will be November 12th at 10 o'clock at the office. The board meeting will be on the 18th of November at 2 o'clock right here at the church. No further business come before the board of directors. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Get out of here. Be safe.